I've been posting YouTube videos for the last 15 years, and I officially got monetized in March of 2024 last year. So you can imagine how amazing that felt when I got my first little YouTube paycheck. And for the most part, I've always edited my own videos myself. I've always shot my own videos myself. There was, I think, 3 or 4 times maybe where I had a videographer with me following me around, but that was just for bigger events. Or I think I've tried on Fiverr like 5 or 6 different editors to try to streamline everything. But of course, now that I'm posting every single day, that did not work whatsoever. And I always wondered how some of these guys were making this much money. Like when you have Penguins or Moist Critical, I just posted that he made around $36 million on his YouTube AdSense and super gifts and memberships. I always wondered what could be realistic. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how much money I made off my YouTube channel having 37,927 subscribers. I'll show you guys the exact screenshots from my YouTube analytics page, and we'll go through the monthly earnings, yearly earnings, my highest paid day, as well as my lifetime earning all together total. So I've been posting on YouTube since roughly around 2010, where I used to do parkour videos, believe it or not. But it's something that I've always wanted to do. I just didn't really know where I was going to go with it. And it's something that I was always passionate about, which is why I never really saw it as work. It was always something that I knew that I was going to be chasing and I wanted to do one day. I just didn't really know how I was going to get any traction. And it was just recently where last year, obviously for those who followed my channel for the last bit during my weight loss journey, that's where everything blew up, and that's where everything found its direction. So to get monetized on YouTube, you need to have 1,000 subscribers, and then you need to have 4,000 watch hours of content in the last 12 months. Or if you're only posting shorts, then you need 10 million views in the last 3 months. And for somebody that's just starting, those numbers seem absolutely fucking huge. And they absolutely can be if you're starting from scratch, because I mean, look, it took me 13 years to get there. And of course, some people get there a lot faster than I did, but I was just posting because I genuinely enjoyed doing YouTube videos. It was never about the money. So I created this channel in 2017, and as you can see, all the way up to the end of February 2024 from last year, I had earned $0 on YouTube, where in March of 2024 is when everything started for me. And this is important of a date to realize because this was also when Will Tennyson posted his video with me. And this is what blew up my channel. This is when I got my first thousands and thousands of subscribers, as well as this is when I got my watch hours, bringing me out to eligibility to be monetized on YouTube, which created my first check from YouTube of $18.02, which by the way is a very sweet $18 after posting for 15 years. That next month, of course, because I was carrying a lot of views over from the last videos and everybody was going to my channel and seeing who I was, I made $99 with my highest day being $14.50. And this was posting almost every day during that month. And then in May, I actually had an issue with my AdSense where everything crashed down and my AdSense stopped working. So I made $31.72 with my highest day being $5.86. June, it kept not working until all the way till July, where I then made $16. We were back. I was pumped. But I was also very pissed off here because I had missed the second Will Tennyson drop video, which means that I probably missed a few $100s from people coming over to my channel afterwards. Especially when I saw how much money he made from the video that we shot together, which was more than my entire lifetime earning from YouTube, which I will show you at the end. Bringing us till August, which was a very big boost in the earnings because we got $387. With my highest day being $38. August, it made sense that I got a bit of a boost in views because that's when summer shredding happened. And there was a lot of hype. My channel was growing very quickly on Instagram at least, where I think I was sitting around 60,000 followers by then. And obviously here I was posting incredibly consistently every single day on Instagram. I was transferring my shorts over to YouTube. Things were moving pretty smoothly at this point. And then coming to September, I made $301. With $27, which was obviously just sort of like the money sort of creeping in continuously from the summer shredding videos. And I thought that that was actually going to go down. But in October, again, the hype kept raising, everything kept coming. People were getting really attached to the story at that point, and that made $339, with my highest day being $42. And nothing super crazy happened in October, other than, of course, the lead up to summer shredding, which was the big one, the finale in November. So, in November I made $401, which to me seemed absolutely nuts, considering how this was content that I was going to create regardless, and it almost seemed like it was passive because I knew that I was going to do it anyways, even though, of course, it wasn't passive at all, considering how the amount of hours that I was putting into every single video back then. And keeping in mind that here I was posting about once a week, I want to say, on YouTube, like at least one full-length video per week. Until obviously peak week, where I was posting every day, and that was my first time trying the everyday videos. Bringing us to September, after summer shredding. I don't know how closely you guys were following by then, but not that I fell off, I was just a little bit less consistent because I was like mentally completely messed up after the show, and I only made $225 the next month. So there was definitely some sort of direct correlation between the storyline of my content versus how much I was posting and the money that I was making revenue here, because you can see that there's a pretty big dip here. Bringing us to a yearly recap. So this means that during the year 2024, so my first ever year of monetization, missing the first almost 3 months, meaning I made $1,860.23, with my highest day being $49.63, which conveniently makes sense because that was after that I posted both my Losing to Win documentary as well as the I Won Summer Shredding bodybuilding show. So it was my two biggest videos of the year, and at that point that made sense. And keeping in mind that, of course, this is USD and I'm Canadian, this would be the equivalent of $2,610 Canadian, keeping in mind, of course, that the dollar is pretty volatile these days. Bringing us back to January 2025, I made $162 with the highest day of $22, and I feel as though that was going to sort of be my new norm after that. And to be honest, I wasn't really watching my ad revenue. I wasn't posting the most consistently then either, because again, I was sort of like getting back into my mental headspace of like, what is it that I want to do now? I had no idea where my content was even going to go at this point, because I didn't know what was next after summer shredding, of course. February was back to $200. I started posting a bit more consistently, and this is when I believe Greg Doucette made his video about me, which also checks out with why there was a little bit of bump in viewership again. In March, that's when I really sort of got back on the horse, because I figured, okay, I have to get my life back together, and I have surgery next month. So let's get things going, of course, right? Which was my first surgery, the gyno surgery, and that's when I started posting about that. April, $174. Nothing too crazy here. Bringing us to May, when I actually got my surgery with Dr. Law, bringing it, obviously giving us a bit of a spike here to $393. So this was, again, a very good month, and obviously due to the fact that I was posting very consistently into surgery content, because we all know that does well. So after the surgery content was sort of like starting to fill down, in June I made $232, and July was very similar, $236, with the hype from summer shredding starting to build again, because that's when the first shows were starting to happen. And in August, this is when things started getting interesting. So just August that just passed here, I made $302, and at the end of the month, this is when I decided, hey, I have my surgery coming up next month. What if I started posting every single day? This only obviously happened at the end of the month, going into September, with September being my all-time biggest month ever. And you can see here how the YouTube videos start stacking every single day, where I made $951 in September alone, which to me was insane, because that month represented half of the entire last year. And that was my first $1,000 month, because when you transfer that over to Canadian, that was $1,300 for me. Insane. Which was, to me, insane, because that meant that it was the first time ever that YouTube was able to pay my portion of the rent. So a very cool thing, even though I decided that I was going to invest all of the money that I was making into YouTube into the clothing company startup idea, because I knew that obviously there was going to be some costs associated to that by making samples, shipping, the labeling, the packaging, everything, the shipping. And so this is where all that money was going to go towards. Bringing us to this month, we are halfway through October with so far making $364, which means that obviously posting every day is working. There is some sort of direct correlation in between how much money that I'm making versus the amount of effort that I'm putting into it, which is pretty cool to see. I've heard it from, it was Mr. Beast that said this, that YouTube is a talent, but it is mostly a skill. And I think that this directly shows that the amount of effort that I put into it, the more that I'm getting out of it. Bringing us to this year's yearly roundup. So for the year of 2025, the total amount made was $3,336.90, with my highest day being obviously right after the summer shreddings at $91.92, with a total estimated revenue of a lifetime earnings from YouTube for posting for 15 years of $5,197. And to look at my highest performing video so far by AdSense, the loose skin removal surgery, of course, being the biggest one, got $256. The Can I Get This 19-year-old Ripped in 90 Days, which by the way, we really have to make an update video on this because things got a little weird with that one. Yeah, you know what? I'll make that one this week at some point. That one got $177, and as you can see, the other ones were all summer shredding related. So although those numbers might seem very flashy, let's do some mathematics here. Because on this channel alone, I have posted 292 videos. And for each video that I make, it will roughly take me about, let's say, 20 minutes to come up with the idea, the ideation of it, 2 hours to shoot it, 2 hours to edit it, and then roughly 30 minutes to make a thumbnail and 10 minutes to come up with the title and the posting and all of that jazz. So roughly, I want to say 5 hours per video. And this is a calculation more so for the daily videos that I've been doing. For the actual like longer, crazier thought videos that I was making before, it was a lot longer, but we'll just keep it at 5 hours for the sake of easy math. If every single video that I've made so far took me 5 hours to make on average on this channel, because keep in mind there was multiple channels beforehand, we're not even gonna keep those in mind. So we'll do 5 hours times 292 videos, bringing us to around 1,460 hours of time spent making videos. And if we then do that seemingly super big number of $5,197 divided by 1,460. That means that I am currently working for roughly $3.56 per hour. It's not as glorious as it seems now, isn't it? And so that's why if you get into YouTube for the wrong reasons, you're not gonna last. The money that you make off here can be insane. Some people blow up very, very quickly because their personalities just carry them, or they just get lucky and they get picked up by the algorithm. But for me, unfortunately, that was not the case. And I had to really find my niche, obviously, which ended up being weight loss and just daily vlogging at this point, to make it make sense for me. Because if we were to take, let's say, only the month of September as a period of calculation, that was 30 videos times 5 hours, making it 150. So if we take our 950 divided by 150, that makes it so I'm working for $6.33 an hour for that month. So that's why I never saw YouTube as a job. To me, it was always a goal. And I've always seen it as more of a community building tool than a money-making machine. Obviously, the potential is there, but I don't really care. And if you do, then you might not be in it for the right reasons. And it really shows, because people will post or they'll spend a bunch of money on production and stuff. They'll make 2-3 videos and then you just never really hear from them ever again. So I hope that is put things a little bit more into perspective, because you have to keep in mind that because I'm Canadian, I cannot monetize Instagram or TikTok. So YouTube is the only source of revenue that I get direct from my content. For people that are in the States that are posting on Instagram and TikTok, they could be making thousands of dollars a month. And I know that for last year, just as a very calculated guess, if I was in the States, I probably would have made around like an extra $20,000 to $50,000 just on Instagram and TikTok views. But I obviously made zero, so that's fun. Oh, thank you for watching this video. This was obviously just all in the sake of transparency so that everybody knows exactly what's going on here. Because people tend to believe that YouTubers are rich, which they absolutely can be. Unfortunately, it is not my reality. Hopefully one day. But thanks for watching again, and as always, let's change the world together.